Tallboys and Trackmasters is brought to you by Expert Exhaust. Expect more for your money. MTB Shock Dock, your choice for suspension needs. High Gear Success. From helping racers get sponsored to motorsports event operation and promotion, shift your passion into high gear.
Track 93, the place to get ready to race.
And by IADV. From routes, guided tours, and more, we'll help you get lost.
Yeah, for some reason, when I see a lump, my sphincter tightens, I start to tremble, I go all sweaty.
I'm a big fan of the 1.5 pork chop cans, personally.
You gotta make sure you get your protein and carbohydrates all in one shot.
Yep.
Nice looking bike.
That thing would look good with a hot fender too.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Not the line.
Yes, it does.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into episode 87 of Tallboys.
Trackmasters.
Those hit a lot better when you're unemployed. You know that?
I do remember the feeling. I've been chasing it. I've been trying to chase that high ever since.
Well, we hope everybody out there is doing well tonight. We got a heck of a guest lined up for episode 87 tonight. Mr. Billy Prine from Enduro 31 and lots of other things. And we're going to get into that right now with the man himself. Billy, thanks for coming on with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hi, guys.
How you been?
Good. Hanging in there.
Good deal. All right, my friend. Well, we'll jump right in. We won't waste any time. So let's start from the beginning, and we'll go through your basics here a little bit. Tell everybody where you were born and raised.
I was born in Clarksburg, UHC Hospital, I guess. But born and raised Shinston. I'm a Shinston boy.
Shinston guy. So you're close by? Close by.
I am.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Let's go through like your early history here with motorcycles and stuff. How did you get introduced into the addiction, as we say?
Well, I didn't ride bikes when I was young. I was raised by a pretty strict guy.
Okay.
I was one of them lucky ones that got raised by a police officer who hated dirt bikes.
Okay.
So maybe that's why my passion runs so strong. I don't know. But I didn't start riding. I didn't have my first bike till I bought it myself till I was 14. Believe it or not, XR80 at 14 years old. And, other than that, started riding. And I know you guys know, but I was pretty much into quads. I raced pro class locally and spent a lot of years on quads.
Okay.
And,
so that was your first love then?
It was. I still have my 250Rs and stuff. Yeah. But, spent a lot of time racing, but I always rode both. I loved riding both, but I basically just started racing quads pretty heavily and worked my way up. Never raced GNCs really too much. Didn't have the money at the time. I was, just didn't do it. I raced several, but mostly local series, and had that pesky boy that was, that little pesky brace face, little Dodgers kind of kid that was all the time saying he was going to beat us boys, and by the name of McGill, and he ended up, that was his goal, to get us. And when he was a sophomore, junior in high school, and he did. Yeah, I'll give it to him. It wasn't very long. That LOA class kid was knocking on our door, and so that's about the time I was already pretty much older and was getting out of it. So.
I got you.
Like
that's
her.
funny. Yeah.
I got into it way late. I got into the street and trail hobby at like 23 or 24 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I did ride like, a little 2-stroke 80 or something like that as a kid, and like tore my ankle up, and then I wasn't allowed to ride again after that. So once I got out and got on my own health insurance, I had a bike in pretty short order, and got in with James and the rest of FDSR, and
It's been downhill ever since.
Yeah, not everybody grows up from 4 years old on riding.
No.
Yeah,
No, and that wasn't my case either. I never started riding until I was 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, well, you're never too late to start, and I think that's a point that we've definitely made on the show in the past and other episodes. Is you're never too late to start, but you're always too late to never try. So anytime you can get out there and do it, it's good. It's funny to hear you say Adam there and your 250R. I got the opportunity to go down to Davis to the Blackwater reunion and saw him down there and saw plenty of really nice looking 250Rs from back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are sweet.
And we talked a lot on the show about the lack of any or at minimum like very few manufacturers still producing race quads.
Yeah.
I know that some of the Chinese companies have started to move towards producing race quads for like youth class and stuff like that. But there's a huge hole in the market for adult size race quads.
Yeah, I think Honda's last year was 14. Actually, I was always a Honda guy, so yeah, it was definitely a huge decline in quads. It went way down from what it was.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see it back to the heyday like it used to be there.
No,
you pull up to a hare scramble now. There's there's a lot of Honda 400s on their third or fourth Chinese rebuild kit. They're getting pretty tired.
Yeah.
Well, Billy, let's jump ahead here just a little bit. So, race 4-wheelers and what year time frame are we looking at there when you kind of hung the boots up, so to speak?
Well, I was racing pretty heavily in the late 90s, 98 to mid 2000s. Yeah, I was had 7-10 years there. I was racing pretty heavily and quit. Yeah.
Okay. And where did
I had a powder coating shop?
Yeah,
so I was
definitely want to get into that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so busy. I did so many chassis, and I was raised in a welding shop. My whole family's a long span of welders in a huge welding shop. So I was raised in that welding shop, and I built my own oven in 2001 was my first oven I built. It was 8 foot long, and a company out of Pittsburgh designed the elements and stuff for it. And my uncles all told me I was crazy because that was, it's been such a long time ago. But I was so hard in the quads and dirt, I was just doing my own gusset kits and powder coating chassis, and I was pumping out 100, 150 frames easily a year, and just got old. I got tired of I was working so much, that's why I kind of give up the racing.
Yeah.
Powder coating's kind of a niche for me now. My son does it, and we don't advertise it anymore.
Yeah, I feel you there. I kind of used to do that on the side as well. And yeah, you just have so many. So once your buddies figure out that you can do it, it's like the friend discounts always apply, and you just never get anything done in a head.
It's the same if anybody ever finds out you're good at anything, from fork seals to troubleshooting carbs or wiring or anything like that.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Owning a dump trailer.
Oh yeah, that's a bad
somebody else has it more than you have it.
Yeah.
Or if you've got college age friends, or I did at the time when I got my Tacoma, is everybody, it's their turn to move. It's, hey, I'll pay in pizza and beer. It's like I can just buy that and not have to waste a whole day trying to help somebody move.
Yeah. Let's dive into the powder coating process and how that works, because to me that was something that I was absolutely enamored with. I'm the type of guy that I was never a good painter, but the satisfaction of watching something go from a rough, sandblasted piece of metal to any color under the rainbow at this point now, it was extremely satisfying. Talk a little bit more about starting out in the powder coating stuff there.
Well, I got into it because I was so heavily in the quads. and I was, like I said, raised in the shop, so I built my own oven, and then had my own sandblasting set up, and it did everything in house, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Did it for a lot of years. Well, I spent a lot of nights 3, 4 o'clock in the morning in the garage. Just it was good. It was good. It's a good time. We mostly sandblast now.
Yeah.
We still powder coat. I don't advertise it, but it's pretty cool. The colors that's available now and technology's definitely better than it was.
Yeah.
But yeah. But we mostly sandblast now, and I don't. It's a hobby thing for us. We do it for friends and family. You know, we still do it, just not very much. We mostly are. We do a lot of sandblasting. I kind of got into. I didn't follow the trade of welding because I got my eye knocked out when I was in 3rd grade. So I knew welding wasn't something I could do every day. You know, welding's hard on your eyes anyhow.
Yeah.
And I had a really bad accident and got my eye knocked out in 3rd grade there. So I knew welding wasn't going to be for me. So I was kind of got into blasting and powder coating pretty early.
Yeah.
Well, there for pretty solid multi-year stretch. Powder coating was like the hottest thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody wanted everything from wheels to bumpers to, you know, quad frames, motorcycle frames, etc. powder coated.
Yeah.
And
there's certain things that powder coat nice, and there's certain things that's just not powder coat friendly. You know what I mean? There's certain things that one of those things you get questions about all the time about doing Nerf bars for Jeeps, and they rust me inside out. You can't get powder clear inside the tubing, so you get a few years for a powder coating job, it won't last.
Yeah, motorcycle frames and 4-wheeler frames too. I mean, yeah, they look good for one season, but all that abuse and hitting, it's going to chip, and it's better than paint. Don't get me wrong, and it will last longer and look cool. But yeah, it's not a one-time thing, and then it's going to last the rest of the life.
Yeah, a lot of people vastly overestimate the durability of any kind of finish. You know, I'll see some guys on the forums and stuff do frame up restorations of like Honda Elsinores and stuff like that, and then complain their boots are rubbing the paint off of the tubes. It's like, yeah, you've got grit and sand and everything else between your boot and the frame. It's like, you know, 80 grit sandpaper back and forth on that stuff.
Absolutely. That's exactly the way I used to explain it to my customers. Like, listen, especially the quad guys, because, you know, they're set down guys. So they're always just sitting there. And you got mud and grit rubbing the chassis. I'm like, put frame guards on immediately. This stuff's not liquid metal. It's going to rub off.
Yeah. I don't know how many times, too, I'd have somebody bring me a frame and it's got giant rust holes and stuff in it. And like, powder coat will cover that right up. So, no, it won't. It's not going to save this frame for you, buddy. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
That's not. Powder coating is not structural. Neither is spray paint. Neither is Bondo. And I think there's a lot of folks out there that don't quite grasp that.
Yeah.
All right, Billy, let's move on here a little bit. So I know you had the powder coating thing. You was it Prine's mobile blasting? That's the thing on the side there now. So you guys also you do like floor coverings and stuff too? I saw.
We basically do coating. So my son Ezra had got into blacktop sealing while he was still in high school. So that's something I really wasn't accustomed to. We learned a lot. Been doing that for quite a while now. We do blacktop sealing. That's mostly on Ezra's side. But coatings all the way around, whether it be roof coat, we do industrial roof coatings, metal, rubber, single plies, and we do epoxy floor covering on concrete too.
Yeah, that's a couple of the pictures that I got to check out. It looked like great work. Now, you've mentioned your son Ezra a good bit here, and I know that he is very well known in the local race circuits and stuff. So, why don't you talk about Ezra a little bit, his upbringing, and his entrepreneur spirit that seems like he got from his old man here?
Yeah, I made him work when he was young. Yeah, he's a hustler. I'll give him that. He is a hustler. But yeah, he's been on a bike since he's 3-4 years old. Dirt bike. I had him on a Honda 90 quad for a little while. But I got him on dirt bikes pretty quick. He stayed on that and worked his way through the ranks there and spent a lot of time. He still rides, not near like he used to, but he worked his way up through the ranks there and won, what was that? C-class, 14 or whatever it was in the GNCC's schoolboy class or something.
Yeah, yeah.
He won that on a hybrid 2017 KTM chassis, 4-stroke chassis. We put a 200 2-stroke motor into it, and
there you go.
It was a cool bike. But yeah, he won that championship and worked his way up to 250B. Won that championship. Won the 250B hard enduro championship and A class hard enduro, and of course they bumped him. He got pro class hard enduro now, and he's running open A in the GNCC.
Yeah,
yeah,
good
he's done very, very well.
That's good. That's good. So you've kind of seen the entire gamut of different disciplines of racing, whether it be hare scramble, the national enduro, the hard enduro. What's the one I'm thinking? I'm forgetting, like the sprint style racing stuff, sprint enduros.
Yep.
Out of all those different disciplines that you get to witness, what's your favorite to go watch?
Everybody's watching this is going to know it's hard enduro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I tell you, have you ever been to a real hard enduro?
I have, and I'm actually going to race my first hard enduro here in September, so I'm pretty excited about that one.
Cool. For spectators, you can't get no better.
Yeah.
Because it's not a GNCC where they're trying to get thousands of bikes through one place and they can't afford bottlenecks. There, it's true. You can't make the hill, and then your race is over for the day.
And everyone's going to see it, right?
And everyone's going to see it, and there's no help. And I enjoy, I rode trials quite a bit, so
okay.
I enjoy the hard. I've had some pretty good crashes in my time, so I like the hard enduro stuff.
We affectionately refer to our dual sport and street and trail riding as hard dual sport. We mix a little bit of hard enduro with connecting the gravel roads and the streets to get to that rough stuff. And
I've heard that.
Yeah,
some of the private properties that we've cut track in over the years definitely trends more towards the hard enduro side of riding.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch that, like from the dual sport side of things, where that term dual sport has really started to go that way, more towards the hardcore stuff. You see a lot more plated 2-strokes around here now. And I'm sure you're familiar with that too, seeing that as well. But yeah, it's hard enduro is something that me and Trevor are huge fans of. Been watching, Erzberg for years, and all the Red Bull events, Romaniacs and TKO, and what I'd like to get your opinion on this, being a hard enduro fan. What do you feel like America has done in the last few years to kind of step that game up and maybe get a little bit more recognition on the world stage for what we have here in the States?
Yeah, that's happened. I mean, we've got FIM over here, so I think they've done well. They've tried a lot of different venues, been out there, but they've done well. It's coming along. A lot of people are getting into it. I know TKO it's a great place. It's an easier hard enduro. It's not like a tough like Roar or Battle of the Goats or something like that. But I think they've done well.
Yeah, I think
it's hard to get someone in the hard enduro.
There for a long period of time, hard enduro was almost a strictly European sport. I know when I first started paying attention to it was about the time I got into riding was is all about, like James said, Erzberg Radio, Romaniacs, etc., Sea to Sky. And it's cool to see some hard enduro events that some of the more seasoned guys find difficult being in the States. I think with the terrain in some of the states that we have, it's a no-brainer to host some hard enduros.
Yeah, it's crazy the difference in you see some really, really good A-class, pro-class style riders, and when you get them into that, technique style situation where a lot of trials background would help you, they struggle, and it's full gas and no foot peg pressure, and like it's just it's amazing that that skill level is not there for some really fast guys.
Yeah, it's
But-
you think though you're just on a motorcycle and all motorcycle riding's the same, so I'm going to be able to go in here and just dominate. And
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of fast A guys that get embarrassed by some C class hard enduro guys. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
and some of those, and it just helps to have a little bit of that experience of trials.
good deal.
For sure.
All right, my friend. Let's move on to the dealership and how Enduro 31 came to be. I'm really curious to hear the history and the background of how you managed to put that together, especially in today's world where, you don't really see a lot of new dealerships pop up. It's all the mom and pop guys have been around since the beginning, in the 60s and 70s. So talk about what it took to put together Enduro 31.
We rode KTMs. We bled orange for a lot of years, since Ezra was 5. You grew up on a KTM, you just stay that way. And I love the bikes. But the days of the 4CSs and the suspension that everybody hated, and the Air Force rolled in, and it's like clear up to Ezra was I don't know, he was about 16, 17, and a couple of championships underneath his belt. I'm like, you know what, we're going a different route. I was a gas dealer when I sold trials bikes. In 2010, about 9 through 12, I was a gas dealer. We rode a lot of trials events. We put trials events on here in West Virginia. And I told him, I said, we're going to go to a Sherco. And I wasn't a dealer. I knew nothing. I didn't even know where a Sherco dealer was even at. I said, we're going to ride a gas before, or we're going to go ride Sherco this year. He was moving to the 250B class.
Mm-hmm.
He was in transition between schoolboy to that. And I was like, so we went to PA, Extreme. I forget which one it was in PA. He was a Sherco dealer. And we looked at bikes. I said, we're going to drive there and look at these bikes. And he was a gas and Sherco dealer. And I looked at Sherco. I was like, wow, that's just a bike. We wanted a pure woods bike. I'm like, we got to try that bike. And Ezra, of all people, he's the one that sent in a resume. I said, send a resume to Sherco, and we were going to buy it off that guy. And I said, but maybe they see if you've already won a school B championship and you've already won the stuff, maybe they'll give you a deal. And they did. I think Wayne Dickert at the time was with Sherco. He still is involved with hard enduro outfitters. I think Wayne works for or he owns. I don't even really know.
Okay.
But he had worked for Sherco at the time. And he sent a resume to Wayne, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you a sponsorship. It was a killer deal on a bike. We got the bike. I wasn't a dealer. And after I got the bike, we started doing it. And he's like, hey, would you guys like to become a dealer in your area? I'm like, boy, I don't know. I know it's weird because I'm a construction guy. And I was like, yeah, I guess we could try it. And Bob Meredith, a guy that my wife works with at Mahindra,
Mm-hmm.
My wife has been there for years since she was out of college, working for not Bob, but another fellow that owned Mahindra at the time and sold it to Bob. And he's like, yeah, if you want to go like a joint venture thing, we'll put it in here. Whatever you want to do. He don't have really a whole lot to do with dirt bikes, but he's like, whatever you want to do. Great guy. And we did it. Ezra got a sponsorship through Sherco, and they sponsored him. He dominated 250B afternoon GNCC, basically won almost every race on that bike. And he won even the same bike, 252 stroke, won 250B hard enduro championship on it. And we call it Mad Max. I still have it. It's like a 500-hour 252 stroke Sherco. And bottom of the frame rails were smashed flat.
Oh,
yeah. But we still have that bike, and we call it Mad Max. But yeah, that's how it really. I wasn't a Sherco dealer. I just wanted to ride that bike and try it out, and that's basically how it came from. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I bought some bikes, and I was able to put it inside a dealership. What better place than right off 79?
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what year was that?
That'd have been 2019.
19. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have heard Sherco described as a rider's bike.
Yeah.
Like ergonomically, they say that to wrench on one, things just somewhat make sense. Is that your experience with them, or?
They changed the chassis in 25 a lot. They opened it up. It was a rider's bike, really good front end feel. Mm-hmm. The chassis was great, and the older style chassis too. But they had some stuff. It was a good bike. Just the way the linkage was set up, I have to have 4 or 5 different wrenches and take the linkage off, and just the plastics wasn't real good, lined up real good, and the wiring was kind of a little bit weird. No issues like mechanically wise that Sherco didn't cover under warranty. They've been awesome to work with as far as I think there was the Cotty regulator that kept failing. KTM used the same part, and they warranty that to this day. They still warranty it.
There's a lot of commonality between brands. I know some folks you'll hear about, oh, I'd never ride, X, their fuel pumps are junk. And then the bike that they prefer runs the same style fuel pump.
Yeah.
For KTM's, for instance, I think it's Mahle, Mahle, plastic in-tank fuel filters like to fail. They like to split like right around the ultrasonic weld. But that's a pretty common filter design that's in a lot of different bikes.
Yeah. The old chassis was really good. It was kind of a lot of people. I'm over 6'2", so Cody rode it. He's 6'4" or whatever. But they, a little bit lower foot pegs, and a lot of bigger guys felt like they was cramped on the old style chassis, I guess you could say. But it did turn sharp. It handled really good front end feel. In 25, they actually stretched that chassis, changed it, because I'm sure you guys follow the GP series in Europe. You know how well Sherco does in that, and they had changed that frame to be more GNCC file friendly and open it up. And Ezra's on a 252-stroke 25 model this year. He's done it handles. I mean, he's been on the motocross track on it. He broke a wrist early in the year. He ain't rode at all. Had pins and stuff put in. So his riding's been on.
Yeah, I don't smile because I take joy in somebody else's misfortune, but I got some hardware too that's in me, I guess, semi-permanently until I decide to get it taken out. And that's something that's not too easy to pop back from.
No, we've all had those, and that'll definitely slow you up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a particularly good or fast rider to start with, so I'll get along fine. But I'd rope with James for years and years and years. It wasn't up until I broke my wrist that I knew or found out that he'd ever broke his.
3 and 4, I believe, something like that. 3, 4 times.
Lord Almighty, I hope to not hit those numbers.
Yeah, I feel like I'm 109. So
you look at 2. Some days.
I probably do now.
But so this does kind of tie into something you talked about earlier. Was now that I have a permanent home and all that stuff, is I've been wanting to get into trials to kind of scratch that itch of the technical aspect of riding, but without having to necessarily leave the property.
Yep.
So what benefits do you feel that trials riding gives for guys that are interested in like enduro and woods?
Once you ride trials for a while, naturally, kind of common sense, standing up all the time is going to give you really good leg strength.
Yep.
And it doesn't bother you like you think it would. People's like, oh, I don't want a trials bike. I got to stand up all the time. You should be standing up 95% of the time anyhow.
Yeah.
But
I say the same thing. Like, everybody loves seat concepts on dual sports. It's great for like gravel and hard top. But once you're in the woods, it wouldn't matter if there was a seat on the bike or not.
Yeah. Trials it's an all-around thing that really helps you. Leg strength, your balance is massive, huge. You'll realize how much you'll stay in the gas on really, and keep your feet on the pegs. Finding traction, just knowing how to put peg pressure to get traction up and out of stuff. It just really. I've got a couple local boys that I got into hard enduro. They're doing very well. That they both bought trials bikes this year.
There's a huge number of very talented enduro riders that have either a trials background or at minimum have a trials bike they train on in the off season.
Yeah. Almost all your top European guys all have major trials background.
Yep.
Yeah. Former champions or still doing it currently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to watch some of those past trials guys kind of migrate into our world a little bit and do absolutely crazy, ridiculous things on adventure bikes that we see now. You know, Paul Terrace and Tony Bow and Kevin Gallus. Now you start to see those guys dominate some of the hard enduro stuff on those big bikes. That's what makes us smile a lot here.
Paul was instrumental in the launch of the T7 in the sense that he made that bike look like it weighed like 200 pounds.
He did.
Same with Tony Bow with the Africa Twin, making that bike look like it weighed 200 pounds.
I'm looking at it right now. It weighs 517. Don't let anybody.
Yeah. How much does it feel like it weighs when it's laying on your leg?
190 million pounds.
But you know, it's amazing the guys that have a trials background, the level of, like you're talking about, body positioning, the ability to find traction, the like feel for, you know, through your foot pegs and everything, and clutch control.
Yes.
You know, that's some of the most important building blocks of hard enduro. And like I said, I'd really like at some point to get into trials, you know, just around the house to start, and then maybe getting into, you know, some basic events down the road or something like that. If you know, as I improve or whatever. The only downside to trials is the barrier, like the cost barrier to entry for the bike, is, you know, I look at them like I could buy a full-on brand new, you know, dual sport for what some of these trials bikes go for now.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, if you could get something like 13 model and up, even older ones are fine, but you're going to get a little bit lighter trials bike, and they're so close to the same thing as a 25 model. Yeah. You could pick a nice trials bike up between, we just picked up 3 or 4 between 35 and $4,000. Have a really nice.
That's a lot more approachable.
Yeah. And
so
it's
that's
so
also
fun.
a bike
You
that a
guys
lot
would
of
enjoy
people
it.
don't seem to be selling. Like I'll, you know, hop on Marketplace and poke around and whatnot, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are getting rid of trials bikes at you know, regular intervals.
Yeah, they hold their value very well too.
Yeah,
you can buy a trials bike for $3,000-4,000, and literally, if you don't like it in 2 or 3 years, get that almost same amount of money out of it.
Yeah.
And the trials events are a lot of fun because you get to ride together the whole day.
Yeah,
it's just you get to watch each other hit a section. Like, how is he not dabbing right there? Which way is he taking? And it's just fun because you're together all day, and you're like, it's a game of inches. You know, it's like, how's he doing it? How's he get traction right there on that rock, or how do he get up over that log? And you can get off and walk that section every time. Like, okay, I'm going to try this in second gear and hit this here, and it's so fun. And I don't do it much anymore because just for the point that Ezra we started racing so much when he was younger, and but if we had a bunch of guys, I'd 100% ride trials.
I remember several years ago, there was a trials event up at Pleasant Creek at Tommy Shimmy's place.
That was my event.
Oh, was it your event? Okay, I was there. I actually got to watch that firsthand.
Yep.
It was the first time I ever watched it, and I was just like blown away at what those guys were able to do on those things. I remember there was a younger guy there. He was like maybe 12, 11 years old or something. And like, he was dominating the thing. It was awesome to watch. It was so cool. And that was a great venue to do a trials event at too, with all the giant rocks and stuff over at Pleasant Creek.
We put it on for several years in a row there. Me and another guy had worked on that event with TI, with Trials Incorporated, which has been around for years. It was great. We had a lot of fun doing it. Had a lot of good riders there, and it just got to where I was so busy I just didn't have time to do it anymore. You know, I just put on events. I know you guys know that firsthand.
We got one coming up next week, my friend, and I'm stressed to the gills, and it's not even halfway ready yet, and I don't know if it's going to be that way. And yeah, I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah, a lot of work, and motorcycles in general took me away from a lot of family. You know what I mean? Seeing, you know, your mom, the rest of your family, you're just so wrapped up in every weekend or being at the shop or have to be somewhere. And I don't forget family, but it's just, it makes you so busy, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I understand that completely. All right, let's go to our little segment that we do that helps everybody in the audience get to know our guest a little bit better. And that's, of course, the 6-pack. All right, Billy, these are kind of just general question, kind of rapid fire things to, like I said, just get everybody to let you know who you are a little bit better. So, favorite trail tunes. You ever listen to any music or anything where he's out there riding?
Oh, I don't listen to it. I don't listen while I'm riding, but if I'm going riding, gotta listen to Pantera.
Oh, I'm down with that.
There we go. Like it. All
Yeah,
right, Trevor.
Pantera has been responsible for me attempting some stuff that I had no known for.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, what would be your dream bike?
Ooh, we talking dirt bike, dream bike?
Let's say for like woods. What would be your dream bike for that?
100%, 302 stroke Sherco.
It's probably pretty nice to go right on the dealership floor and grab one of those, I would say, right?
It is. I'm blessed. I thank God for everything I got, but I do get a new bike about every year. So somebody gets a really good deal on a bike that has pretty low hours on it. But it is beat up a little bit with some hard Enduro scratches.
All right. What's your favorite terrain to ride in?
Rocks.
Same here. I would agree with that. That's probably my favorite. Anytime I see a big rock garden or a creek bed that's kind of half dried up, I'm all about it.
Oh yeah.
Rocks didn't do me any favors.
Is that where it came from?
So I had my front tire go flat and I didn't know it until I went into the next turn on gravel, and like the only washed out area with decent sized rock on that whole stretch of gravel is what I Supermaned off into.
Oh.
And human body's got 206 bones. I think I turned it into like probably 210 or something like that.
It's always good.
I can laugh about it now, but for a significant period of time, it was is not great. But
I feel you, man.
All right, up next.
What would be your favorite trail snack?
Let's see here. Favorite trail snack? I hate to say it, but it probably have to be the Scooby gummies.
Oh,
yeah,
that's the first on the show. I like those. Those are great.
Anything it's like quick and easy sugar. Like Nerds Clusters.
I'm the Nerds Clusters guy.
Yeah. Skittles, like anything that's just straight sugar into your system is good.
Yep. All right, next up. What's your must-have trail tool? Keep with you on the bike.
I keep a must-have. I keep with me it's kind of short and stubby, but it's a triangular 8, 10, 12.
Okay, I've seen those. Yeah.
Yes,
that's good. Yep. And
you can get a lot of mileage out of an 8, 10, 12.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
And last up.
So if you could only do 2 mods to a bike, what would they be? And we'll just say 2 mods to a woods bike.
2 mods to a woods bike, 100% getting your valving and your spring right. So suspension.
Yeah.
100% would be the first thing. Motors, really nowadays bikes, you don't need more motor at all. So motors, I would say suspension, and for me, it's handlebars.
Yep.
For me,
that's pretty typical. Is get your suspension lined out and get your ergonomics set up a little bit better. You said you're what, 6'2"?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're no stranger to some bikes' cockpits being sized for, guys that are like 5'8" or something like that.
Yeah, 5'8" and 110 pounds soaking wet, right?
Yep.
I'm a big tire guy too. I like a nice soft, really plush tire.
Yeah.
For what I do, for the way I ride, I do some GNCCs and some locals still, but broke my hand last year at Tennessee at the GNCC, clipped a tree and broke my hand in half. But
were you running like flag style handguards?
Yeah, I was.
Not full wraps.
Not full wraps. Yeah, it was a flag. It was like Tennessee track was awesome. It was like a lot of racks. I'd pulled a whole shot and was leading. I was like, this track's awesome. And just flowy, I really didn't get out of control. Just clipped a tree, never wrecked, never hit my handlebars crooked or nothing. Like, ooh, that stoved. Thought it was a stove.
Yeah.
It broke.
Big stove.
That. Yeah.
the worst stove you can have, possibly.
It sucked, yeah.
All right, good deal. Billy, one question I did have, kind of getting back to the dealership thing a little bit. I got out of racing there for several years and decided to give it one last go, doing the local stuff at Mountain State. What's it like whenever you guys show up to the track and you start seeing this army of Sherco bikes out there doing extremely well, winning top 10s, top 5s? What does that sense of pride feel like, that not only are these bikes out there being represented as, top of the class, very awesome competitors, but 99.9% of them came from you? What's
Yeah.
that feel like?
It's awesome. We bring it here. We are the home of the GNCC, basically, where we're at. So there was none here. I guess it's pretty cool. I'm responsible for bringing them here. We always give our friends crap. If you ride a Kawasaki or whatever you ride, Yamaha, everybody does it. I love to joke with people and rag them about their bikes, which I mean nothing by it, and everybody knows that. But we all do it. I just enjoy doing it. But Sherco, I get it all the time. Well, who wants a Sherco? What's that? But the bikes have been, to me, race ready. The most race ready bike off the showroom floor. Yep. Full acro exhaust system, Brembo, everything. Billet triple clamps and Galfer rotors and really good chain and sprockets, fan kit and bigger gas tank. The bike is the most race ready machine off the floor.
Sherco did a fantastic job of hitting that, that end of the market, whereas a lot of guys will be diehard KTM fans. Like, yeah, they're great bikes once you replace this, and this, and they've described like an additional $3,000 on top of purchase price. I've heard from a lot of guys about Shercos is they come from the showroom floor very well equipped for what most people are going to want to put on one.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot. Put a case saver. Don't come with a case saver. What bikes do, but and I usually, when someone buys a new bike for me, I give a case saver for free, just because you never know. In hard enduro, you're going to derail a chain all the time. So, other than that, the bikes, it's awesome to see. The bikes are, there's so many people that's just so diehard what they grew up on.
Yep.
But if I can get them on a Sherco, like, listen, bring your race bike to my house. Bring something you ride every day, and then let me put you on a brand new 25. Let you ride it. And there's very few people, no one that says, oh, I hate that bike. Or everybody's like, wow, I don't know how I feel so comfortable on a bike I've never rode. The bikes are just phenomenal. They really are.
Yeah, I'd love to try one out at some point. And speaking of talking trash, as a guy that switched over to a KTM a couple years ago, I really like mine. I've had great luck out of it. I've drowned it, and that was like probably 120 hours ago, and it's still kicking. And anytime somebody's talking trash about KTM, I love to join in. It's like, yeah, those things are junk. I'd never own one. Worst bike I ever had. And then we get done talking trash, and I throw a leg over my KTM, and there we go.
Yeah,
Billy,
I think everybody likes to do that. Everybody likes to talk the trash. We always give all our friends heck.
James' mother's bad about it.
Yeah, my mom's probably the worst about it.
Really?
I've never seen somebody as passionate about hating any brand of bike as she is about hating KTM.
I thought she was going to disown me whenever I came home with the 500 EXC.
Well, she didn't disown you. You've just been, written out of the will.
That's okay. I'm good with that. Good with that. Billy, let's go through real quick what the full lineup is of Shercos and what you can get guys there at the dealership. I know they have 125s and all the way up to 302 strokes. Just kind of go through the gamut of the lineup there that you have available.
Yeah, Sherco makes the 125, which is still electric start, all that. So 125, 250, 304 strokes, and they make 250. 302 strokes, 450, and the 500s.
I'd really like to have one of the 500s. I think if I could
I'd really like to try one.
Well, me and you talked, James. Remember I told you?
I know. Yeah.
We had talked about this about a year ago when they got a bunch of them in. The factory dealer did, American dealer, and I guess some stuff happened through emissions. I don't know what happened for sure. Don't even know. Other than that was they couldn't get them. They just couldn't pass some crazy strict California crap, I would say.
Yeah.
My guess. But it didn't go through. So those bikes were selling pretty cheap, but it comes factory with integrated lights in the bar, full, ready to go, road legal. And somehow it didn't happen with the emission stuff, but it's coming. I know there's rumor of the 800. We have an 800 coming.
Oh, that's
That's
exciting.
really exciting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna
On
get
the
into the
topic
adventure market.
of,
That's cool.
California legality, I would love to see some bikes that are 49 state legal. If you live in California, you just don't get it. Why should I, as a resident of West Virginia, have to abide by, some ridiculous emission laws set by, a state that doesn't represent my interests?
And people that don't ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had went to the speaking of 500 dual sports, we went to the Texas meeting, dealer meeting, last year, whatever it was, and got to spend some time in that 500 dual sport. It's pretty sick. It's nice.
Yeah, I got a 2016 500. It's getting a little long in the tooth, and it's going to need an upgrade here fairly soon. So I would definitely be interested in one of those.
Yeah.
As soon as I find a new place of employment and get some steady income, because I don't think the wife would like that too much right now.
I doubt that.
You just store it at my place. She doesn't have to know.
We could probably do that.
I can help the transaction go through with maybe her not knowing either.
Oh, well, hell, yeah.
I'll do what I can do.
Yeah, we're gonna. She does watch the show, so we got to be careful. And she's on the other side of the wall. But
well, that
love
was,
you, baby.
That was all theoretical speak.
That's right.
We won't actually do that.
Just joking.
She just commented a smiley face monocle in the comments there. I see. So yeah, she's watching. Billy, what are the future plans, and what would you like to grow? As Enduro 31 continues along, and what are some of your future plans?
Really, all my plan is to I'm kind of out of quads now. We still order some parts for tires and guys for stuff like that, but so strictly I'm a dirt bike guy. I'm a dirt bike shop, and I want people to know that I strictly cater to dirt bike guys only. So we carry a ton of different tires, every brand, Dunlop, IRCs, to Pirellis, to X grips, to been importing some stuff out of different countries and trying to get all different types of tires. So we carry most of the time 200 or 300 dirt bike tires in stock. Different tires, because everybody, how people are. I hate that tire, and this next guy loves it. So
yeah,
I just want to be known to take care of dirt bike guys. We got bibs, every type of bib, hard enduro tires to GNC tires, to just to be a dirt bike shop only.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's funny how subjective tires are.
Yeah.
Both James and I, for instance, don't like the Tuscany Sport tires for pretty much anything that we do. I haven't ran one. I had a close buddy of mine that ran one while we were out riding together, and I decided then and there I'd never put one on my bike. But then there's guys that absolutely swear by them. That's like the best hooking up, best wearing tire they've ever used. I mean, it's crazy how subjective it is.
If there's one thing I found out in the shop, it is that. It's if like one guy's like, this is the best tire ever, and then 10 minutes later a guy come in the shop and say, that tire, I'll never run it. Like you said, it's like, but what do you do to keep everybody happy? You got to spend a little chunk of money to try to keep, and my wife gets upset about it because it's just basically us running the shop, and I try to keep every tire that everybody wants. And kids bibs was a big thing. I was making bibs for people, because the youth are, these kids are running hard and they're busting a lot of tires and tubes.
Yeah.
It sucks changing a 12-inch tube.
Oh,
yeah. That's horrible.
I've got 2 5-year-old boys that ride. I know all about it, buddy.
Yes, you do. So now we have 12-inch bibs at X Grip. X Grip's an awesome tire. They make cool stuff. They're out of Germany. So we got kids bibs available.
Cool.
And they're very well priced too, like $60-$80 for a bib.
It's not bad at all. I know when I was out at AIM Expo in Vegas earlier this year, I did get to see Pro Taper actually selling tires now. I don't know if they're any good or not, but thought that was interesting. It's like you guys said, it's so subjective, and you've got guys that they die hard stick with a tire, and tires don't stay the same. They change, and I think a lot of guys may benefit from trying something different because, they're always changing the tread design, the compound a little bit, but it still says that same brand or whatever it is. And if they would give something else a try, they probably would like it a lot more.
Yeah. Yep. That's basically what I want to help out with, just to keep a big selection of tires and basically maintenance stuff.
Good deal. Yeah, we definitely, me and Trevor will definitely make it down your way and hang out in the shop here soon.
So on the topic of trying something different, talk a little bit about Fantic while you're on here.
There we go.
No, I knew that was coming up sometime or another.
It's just a Yamaha motor, right? That's what everybody says. It's the Yamaha motor.
Yeah. They are. They share parts. They have a collaboration with Yamaha Europe to run that YZ250 chassis, which everybody loves. It's a great frame. So it is a YZ250 chassis. It is a Motor Minarelli engine. It's not a Yamaha engine. Yamaha didn't build it. So it's its own oil and fuel injected engine. It is throttle body, dual injected 300 hydraulic clutch Brembo, electric start. Has multiple maps. It's a 5-speed LED light. Has traction control. The bike looks pretty sick. Yeah, and I wanted it not only to have an addition to our shop, but I guess it'll show my age. But I'm a diehard two-stroker. So, what other 300 two-stroke options you got out there? And actually, you got KTM Husky gas, which is all the same engine.
Yes.
So I wanted another 300 two-stroke option. That's, I think, from what we know of the bike, it's got some really good reviews. It's more of a, it's got more power than a YZ250 all the way around, bottom to top, mid top, everything, from some guys I've been talking to that's been spending some time on it. Not a hard enduro bike. I think it's more racy. They say it likes to stretch its legs. So, and I guess you guys will be the first to know. It looks like tomorrow you might see one in the shop.
Ooh, buddy.
So,
well,
big
if you got some pictures of that, we'll definitely share that around.
Yeah.
I've been interested in the idea of a Fantic since we talked about it before we went live. Since Highland Cycles, got one into the U.S. and started doing some testing with it and everything. It seemed like a pretty promising platform.
Yeah. I think he's beat it up pretty well. His videos are pretty cool.
He worked on it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's beat it up.
He's a good stress tester.
Well, like you said, I think, the fact that you're passionate about it, it's something different, and it's something that you can add to your inventory to people. And since you're the only Sherco guy really around, and now being really the only Fantic guy, I think that puts you in a really unique and good position, at least from what I can see.
Yeah, it was an opportunity for us. It was a no-brainer for me. I think it was a really good opportunity for us to have the bike and another 300 two-stroke, and along with that comes a 254 stroke also. And they do make a 310, which is a Yamaha. They do use a Yamaha transplant for their engines. The 4-strokes are basically a Yamaha. Yeah. It is that Yamaha. The 2-stroke is just its own separate beast, and only 2 bikes are allowed for some reason. I don't know why. The 300 2-stroke and the 254 stroke, which is a water-cooled, fuel-injected engine also. The 4-stroke is. It's like an entry level, they're calling it. Entry level for a beginner to even a racer. Mm-hmm. So, I thought it was a pretty cool thing. There's such a following for YZs.
Oh yeah, I'm still that way myself. When growing up racing, me, my dad, my sister, and my mom all were on aluminum frame YZ250s, and I've got a very, very deep soft spot for those. So a Fantic would definitely be right up my alley.
It's a bike that it's been in Europe for quite a while now, and they've done very well. They've won a lot of championships and stuff. If anybody follows that or not, I don't know. But with that bike being, everybody's like, that's the bike Yamaha should have built. You know how everybody is.
Yeah,
Why they didn't, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I don't even understand. I can't even grasp my whole head around why Yamaha didn't do it. Why did it take Fantic to build this engine, its own separate entity, and put it in their chassis? That's weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation regarding the Japanese brands and their business decisions and stuff like that some of it doesn't make sense to me either. One thing I was excited for was Kawasaki announcing that they were going to bring in another two-stroke. They made a pretty solid announcement about that, and it's been radio silence ever since.
Yeah. I thought maybe you guys might be able to.
Hey, we're still on that world as well, and not only did they announce a two-stroke, but at the was it EICMA, the European show, they had a teaser of a giant box over what looked like some kind of middleweight adventure bike to fight
with
the
like the
T7.
low fender, the whole 9 yards, the
and
classic like T7.
everybody was excited about it, and then
bikes.
same deal. No news has dropped in almost a year about that, so it is frustrating to see how the Japanese handle things like that sometimes.
Yeah, and Fantic is Italian. I don't know if anybody knew that or not, but they're Italian. They're really big into trials bikes in the day, and they make enduro bikes. They have, and so yeah, it's exciting to have that bike. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. I do have a quick question. So now you're fluent in French and Italian?
No, I'm not. No.
Let the importers handle that stuff. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember years and years ago, buddy Ryan Eccles was racing the Aprilia 450 twin cylinder in the GNCCs and stuff. And it was so funny to have to deal with a translator to tell him what the bike was doing and what was wrong with it. And then everything got lost in translation by the time it got back. And yeah, that was a whole ordeal back in the day. It was really funny to see. But yeah, man.
I remember a buddy of ours, Gary had rode that bike too.
Oh yeah, Gary. He's actually in the comments, and we'll get to him here in a minute.
He's one of the boys that I got into hard enduro, who's got a couple Shercos now done. Gary's just a beast. We're about the same age, so he's done very well. We was at a hard enduro over the weekend at Yellowbush. Had all three of our Sherco boys won their classes. Ezra got second overall at the hard enduro, and Gary won, and another buddy of ours, Corey King, won his class. And he's really taken the love of hard enduro for sure.
See, that's what I'm extremely worried about is when I go do this one in September coming up. I think it's over in Wellsville, Ohio. I can't remember who exactly is putting it on, but I got a really bad feeling that I'm going to get bit by this bug, and then I'm not going to want to do anything else ever again. So,
well, it could go both ways, James. You could get bit by the bug, or be like, I ain't never doing that again. I think you'll love it, though.
I think I will too. Trevor, you got anything else?
No, I will say to that point that I'm convinced that there's almost no amount of beatdown that you can receive, James, that'll turn you away from something.
Hey, man.
This whole rally circuit you've been up to definitely hasn't been a cakewalk.
Yeah, the 24-hour rallies are they're interesting. I've been enjoying those so far this year. So
that's tough.
Yep.
That's tough.
Whenever you're 14 and a half hours in and you're beat to death, you have no energy left, and you look at the my nice big fancy navigation tablet and it says I still have 210 miles to go. Yeah, it's pretty disheartening, but it's been fun.
Wow.
I've been enjoying it. All right, let's go through some of the comments we got tonight. And again, as always, we really appreciate everybody tuning in and giving their thoughts, and definitely make sure you like and subscribe and follow us over on Facebook and our socials. We would really appreciate that. So let's go through the comments here. First up is Mr. Eric Lowe, who I know does a lot of filming and stuff at the local hair scramble stuff. He says that he is here. My good buddy Charlie says, "What's wrong with being 5'8"? Sheesh." Well, you're short, Charlie. We know that.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Some of us just aren't, some of us are differently abled than somebody that's 5'8".
Well, you got my son. He's about 5'9", so 5'10".
Okay.
Well, I know you also you got a guy that's that hates being called short that we got mutual friends with, Mr. Timmy McIntyre, as I like to call him, Mr. White Shirt. Whenever I was racing with him all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. AKA dumb son. That's what we call him.
Eric says Gary, he needs the 800.
Ooh.
There's my wife checking in to make sure I'm not spending money that I don't have on new motorcycles with Billy tonight.
That emoji means you might want to put a futon in your garage.
I'm used to it. It'll be fine. Gary says that he needs a new 300.
Yeah, he got his pretty beat up for sure.
Eric says he needs a new bike as well. Our buddy Mark was asking where your shop was at. And then everybody was answering there pretty much in the comments down in Bridgeport.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it for that. So that's going to lead us to our next segment, which is a little bit of industry news. We got a few things to talk about this evening. Billy, feel free to comment on any of the stuff we're talking about here as we jump in. But we talk about KTM. They got a new 690 coming down the pike here for 2025. We're looking at an updated chassis with higher rigidity, engine updates, including a single oil pump to reduce the friction losses and increase the torque, a new clutch switch, and a improved design of the clutch master cylinder, sealing of the second shaft or the counter shaft with a new seal, improved ergos, bodyworks, a TFT screen, which is coming from the new 390 Adventure, which has been a pretty good hit for them, along with some different rider modes, some fancy Nancy rider aids with leaning angle sensors and what have you. So I got a quick little picture of it here as well that we will show. And there's what the new 690 will look like. You know, I was kind of shocked that we didn't see a Adventure R option like we did with the 390. I know that's been talked about for several years with the 690 that everybody kind of wants. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds with KTM's recent problems, which have been well documented here on this show.
Did that come with bold new graphics?
Basically, I think. Bold new graphics, and it's made in India now, right?
There you go.
For an Austrian price.
Yeah, for the Austrian price. That's correct.
Chinesian transmission.
Yeah. Does anybody know if, what was it, Pankl, Pankl, was still producing the transmissions for KTM's Enduro line?
Not sure.
I do not.
Probably can't get, even if they are, they probably wouldn't be able to pay them anyway.
I would imagine that in the near future we're going to start seeing some more shakeup in suppliers for KTM components.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you know that Harley Davidson's in hot water? This is really interesting. So Japan's Fair Trade Commission is set to fine Harley Davidson $1.4 million for setting quotas that were unreachable sales numbers for their dozen dealerships across Japan. Yeah, I don't think that trying to tell Japan to sell more bikes than what they can actually physically sell and be able to get is a way to save Harley Davidson. What do you think, Trevor?
Well, I think that in the same vein as, Harley's behavior for the last several years, it's all an act of desperation.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it on length at this show. It's really difficult to rebrand when you've spent so much time, serving a age group that is simply aged out of the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well put.
It's people 20 to 30 that would typically be buying bikes aren't interested in dropping 30 grand on, a whatever glide from Harley. And the guys that are interested in Harleys that are like my age and, 20s up to here are interested in like the older Harleys, like panheads, knuckleheads, like the real, I guess, historical value or nostalgic models. They're not interested in the new stuff that they're pumping out necessarily.
We got any baggers coming from Sherco? Yeah, that might be a market they can jump into.
I know they've been talking about the 800 and some minis, 65s and 85. So
there you go. That's cool. And that's what we need more of, honestly.
Yeah, minis would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Last up in the industry news is actually some good news for now. That's a very key caveat for that. The public land sale is off for now. 250 million acres of public land in Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming have been temporarily saved from being sold off by Senate Energy Chairman Mike Lee. A new bill is set to be introduced soon, though, that basically will allow them to try to sell BLM land that's within 5 miles of major population centers. So the big sale is off, but the little sale may still be coming down the pike. So, land access is something that we've tried to fight for here on this show, and it's a shame that management or closure is what they consider management now.
Yeah, James, you having being involved in the Country Roads Coalition, etc. I think a mutual friend of ours had shared a meme about wishing people got us worked up about land rights and land usage in our state that directly affects them as they did about something happening out west.
Yeah.
And I agree that what was projected to happen out west is, wrong and immoral, un-American, the whole nine. People don't care when it happens in their backyard, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
So,
all right. Well, that's going to lead us into the last and certainly not least segment of the show. A little had to lay her down.
Did you run into some clippings? Did Barb take the kids? Well, Hoss, maybe you had to lay her down.
All right, this week's Had to Lay Her Down is a double take. We got a little bit of whiskey throttle clippings and then some nether region clippings, I would call it. Let's let the first one play out here. I'm sure that Billy's seen this time and time again on the racetrack before, as well as I have.
Oh, boy. Ooh.
That's one of the best ones I've seen in a little bit here.
He wrestled that one for a little while.
Yeah, he did. He didn't give up. I'll give him credit for that.
Wow.
He might give up in the hospital later, though. All right, and let's go to the next one here. This one was really interesting here, and I laughed a lot when I saw this one. Trevor, I think I sent this to you off camera before, but let this one play as well. I'm not sure what in the heck this guy's trying to ride here, but a little croc clip.
Ow.
Ooh. Ooh.
Goes to show you can have a had to lay her down on any kind of machinery, right?
No doubt.
All right. Well,
extreme popsicle.
Yeah. All right, Billy, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thank all our customers that come in and support us, and just everybody who has anything to do with the shop and comes in. We appreciate everybody that's involved.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Well, it's been a pleasure as always. We appreciate you coming on here tonight. And with that, we will see you guys next time on episode 88 of Tallboys
and Trackmasters. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.